To use mPath as your renderer, come over to the shader tree, click on the render item, and come over to the Frame or Settings View tab. At the top, we have a new drop-down for renderer, and here you can choose mPath. This will present you with a new set of quality options. Also at the top, we have an option for Ray Tracing Engine. Here you can see that we have Foundry SSE, which is CPU only, and NVIDIA Optics, which offers GPU acceleration. Now just to clarify, it doesn't mean it's a fully GPU renderer. It uses the GPU to accelerate raycasting, but not shading. But future options will be available. mPath has a variety of options related to render outputs that you're going to want to consider. First off, if you go up to Add Layer in the shader tree and come down to Render Outputs and Shading, a variance output is available, and this can help you take a look and see what noise threshold does. Secondly, you may want to leverage light path expressions. Light path expressions allow you to actually write expressions to control what is rendered in your rendered output. One of these things can be multiple different light passes for every light in a single render. To add these easily, go up to Render and then say Add per light render outputs, and this will automatically add your render outputs for each light with the proper light path expression in place. Let's come back over to the render item and take a look at the settings for mPath. The first one we'll look at is maximum quality. This is both anti-aliasing and the primary quality control. It's the maximum number of samples per pixel. Higher settings will reduce noise, but increase render time. Noise threshold will increase the degree of noise that's acceptable to determine whether a pixel is skipped. Raising this will lead to noisier but faster renders. A default of 5% is recommended. However, 10 or 20% can be acceptable if denoising is going to be used. Diffuse, reflection, and refraction depth represent the maximum number of bounces from each type of ray before it's automatically terminated. Generally speaking, increasing these values should also increase render time, but improve accuracy. Reflection and refraction depth are particularly important for accurately representing reflective and refractive surfaces when there's many items to be taken into account. Now let's open up a render that I've already completed by opening up the render window. And as you can see at the top under Output, we have a variety of outputs available to us. Right now we're taking a look at the final color, but if we go to Variance Output, this is a visual representation of the noise threshold that you see here. Basically, as you change your noise threshold, you'll see what degree of variance there is between each pixel and how refined your image is. And this is great for troubleshooting and debugging your renders. If I come down to light path expression outputs, you can see each of these are individual lights rendered given the strings that you set up in the light path expression. Typically, in the past, you might have to render out separate render passes for this, but mPath allows us to do all these at once with very minimal overhead.